Discover the incredible life of Grigori Rasputin. Hidden truths revealed that transformed Russia. In the heart of Maplewood, Ohio, Sam Carter's life felt like a steady, rusty cog in a world that had begun to falter. He was a mechanic, much like his father before him, poring over engines and screwdrivers while the weight of expectation pushed down on his broad shoulders. Sam, with his calloused hands and warm smile, embodied the spirit of hard work and devotion. He felt the community's support with every handshake and nod of recognition as he struggled to keep his father's legacy alive. But today the worries were heavier. Business was dwindling, and the echo of his father's hammer rang in his ears, a reminder of the dreams he was slowly losing grip on. The shop felt emptier than ever. Cars came in sparingly. Mothers who used to trust him with every little quirk in their minivans now hesitated. Sam's heart ached as he noticed their anxious glances, torn between paying for repairs or putting food on the table. Yet, every Sunday at the diner, the worn-out conversations of friends and neighbors lingered on the air like the smell of fresh coffee. Together, they rallied around him, embodying the essence of what it meant to be family in this tight-knit community. And just when things seemed to level out, the unexpected happened. In walked Lily for the first time in a decade. The room seemed to freeze. Her silhouette sliced through the dust motes in the sun that streamed through the bay doors of the garage, and the familiarity of shared childhood rushed over Sam like a wave. Whispers ricocheted from corner to corner, each one carrying strands of rumor. Was she back to reclaim a past she had abandoned, to stoke the embers of lingering family struggles? Standing in front of him, Lily's eyes told a story of silent battles, and Sam felt a tightness in his chest as he wrestled with emotions he had tucked away. He remembered their laughter echoing through the nights, but time had changed that melody to silence. Now, her presence hinted at secrets buried beneath layers of hurt. "Sam, I need your help," she finally spoke, her voice trembling with vulnerability. Those simple words opened a door to misunderstandings and heartache, a plea that could shatter everything he had worked to rebuild. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." That call for help ignited whispers throughout Maplewood, intertwining with a brewing storm of economic scandal, exposing cracks in their community and pitting neighbor against neighbor. During the town hall meeting, tensions ran high, voices clashing like thunder as gossip swirled about Lily's return. Sam stood frozen, heart racing, knowing each word he might speak could affect more than just his family. They could ignite the very spirit that bound their town together. What would he choose? To defend the fragile ties of family or to confront the harsh truths lying beneath their surface? As he stepped onto the podium, he felt the weight of uncertainty mixed with raw determination. He inhaled deeply, feeling the warmth of familiar faces at his back, and prepared himself to face both his sister's pain and the town's truths. How would this meeting end, and what new wounds or healing could arise in its wake? Would Maplewood rise against adversity together, or would fear and division prevail? As he opened his mouth to speak, the tensions boiled, questions hung heavy in the air. Would truth bring unity, or would it fracture their family and community further? Sam took a deep breath, the scent of oil and metal mingling with his rising anxiety. The townsfolk's faces seemed to merge into a sea of anticipation, their eyes wide and searching for answers. It was now or never. He could almost hear his father's voice echoing, reminding him that integrity was key. "Everyone," he began, his voice steady but laced with urgency. "I know that Lily's return has stirred up a lot of feelings, old wounds, and perhaps unfinished business. But I want you to consider something." He paused, gauging their reactions. Were they ready to listen? Lily stood quietly at the edge of the crowd, her hands clasped tightly, shifting her weight from one foot to the other. Sam could sense her vulnerability, her fear of rejection mixing with the weight of their shared history. The room became a pressure cooker filled with simmering emotions from hope to skepticism. Lily is a part of this family, Sam continued, and whether we like it or not, we've all been touched by her choices. But let us not forget who we are, and what brought us together as a community. He felt the heat of probing gazes but pressed on. We've always rallied for each other in tough times, and this moment is no different. If we turn our backs now, what does that say about us? A ripple of murmurs flowed through the crowd. Some were nodding, others were casting doubtful glances. Sam's heart raced. He needed them to understand. Lily was young when she left. She has come back asking for help, and isn't that what family does? We support each other. His voice grew louder as he felt a surge of emotion. When a neighbor is struggling, do we point fingers, or do we extend our hands? The weight of the silence pressed down, but in that moment he felt a shift in the air. It was as if his words had turned the tide of uncertainty into a flicker of something more, a sense of unity despite their fears. Then, in the back of the room, an elderly woman spoke up. You don't know what it's like to lose everything, Sam. You're not the only one trying to hold on to your family legacy. There was a tremor in her voice, a painful truth that resonated in many hearts. I understand, Sam replied, his eyes locking onto hers. But we all have a choice. Remember how we've come together through every hardship? Let us not break that bond now. We face struggles every day. This community is worth fighting for. Lily's eyes glistened with unshed tears. Sam could feel the weight of the moment as he turned to her. Their shared past simmered just below the surface, but maybe this was the opportunity to rewrite their story. Slowly, one by one, more voices emerged from the crowd. Different stories of loss and hope intertwined. They were all battling their demons in one way or another. It was palpable, the swell of collective introspection. Just as Sam felt a glimmer of hope, an unforgiving voice cut through the atmosphere. And what about the rumors, Sam? What about the scandal lurking behind her return? The question hung heavy, and smiles faded as apprehension settled back over the room. Sam ran a hand through his hair, wishing he had a ready answer. The reality was that Lily's past was like a shadow, creeping closer. But was it too late to confront it? As he caught a glimpse of Lily, the pain reflected in her eyes ignited something in his chest. He took a step towards her, determined to embrace their shared burden rather than shun it. It was time to uncover the truth. What lies ahead? He wondered, his heart racing with both fear and anticipation. Would Lily find the strength to reveal the secrets hidden in the past? With all eyes upon them, Sam felt the moment was slipping away. What choice would they make now? Would they face the truth together or allow it to tear them apart once more? Sam's heart quickened as the question lingered in the air. The silence that followed felt thick, almost suffocating. He turned to Lily, searching for her expression, desperate for a sign, some indication that she was ready to confront her past, that she could face them all. Lily's eyes darted to the ground, her shoulders hunching in. Sam understood that weight all too well. It was that same weight he had carried since the day she left, the burden of choices that echoed through their lives. He wished he could take that burden from her. But how? Lily, he stepped closer, sensing the collective breath of the crowd, a human tide anticipating a revelation. You're not alone. You never were. A low rumble of uncertainty played in the crowd as some exchanged glances, but others leaned forward, their eagerness to hear the truth palpable. Was this the moment she'd finally break her silence? Sam could only hope. With a shaky breath, Lily straightened. I know I have a history. Her voice trembled, barely above a whisper. I left in search of something, and I thought I could find it away from this town. She paused, glancing at the faces of the people she had known all her life. But what I found was a bigger mess than I'd ever known. I hurt people along the way. The room hung on her words, dread and sympathy entwining. Sam could feel the crowd shifting, their unfulfilled assumptions fading into a solemn space. He stepped back, allowing her room to breathe, to share this burden. After a moment, she continued, There are rumor stories that I never wanted to be part of. Some are true, others, I didn't choose those either. Anguish carved her features, and something in Sam's chest tightened in response. A hushed silence blanketed the gathering, a deafening echo of shared hurt. People talked about how I betrayed my own community when all I wanted was to feel free. Her words broke, the weight of the past too much to bear. But I never meant to abandon anyone. I thought running would make it easier to forget, to start again. The elderly woman from the back of the room now stood closer, tears glistening in her eyes. She nodded, heartened by Lily's words. It's never easy to come back, especially when you fear judgment. Lily took a deep breath, gathering strength from those small gestures. I'm here to face what I've done. I want to rebuild what was broken, even if it's hard. As her resolve grew, Sam felt a warmth spreading through the crowd, an awakening. Discussions sprouted around him, the townsfolk beginning to remember their own struggles, how they, too, longed for acceptance and understanding. Amidst the healing, a voice broke through the mood, sharp, accusatory. And what if it's too late, Lily? What if the damage is already done? Sam clenched his jaw. Tension rippled through the crowd again. What if it's never too late? Lily countered, her voice stronger now. What if reconciliation starts when we're honest about our pain? Sam watched a flicker of hope in the eyes of those around him. Was it possible? Could they rebuild not just their trust in Lily but each other? With a sudden flash of determination, Sam raised his hand, quieting the murmurs. Let us give each other a chance to heal. The challenge lay ahead, but as deep breaths filled the room, he felt a shift. Each heartbeat resonated with unspoken promises. They could choose compassion over judgment. Lily's return could spark not just a renewal of her place in their lives, but an awakening for them all. What would it take for the rest of them to let go of the past? And what shadows still remained? As Sam stole another glance at Lily, he realized they had barely scratched the surface of healing. Together they would face this journey. What truth still waited to be revealed? Would it unite them, or would it bring more pain? Lily stood with her heart racing, the moment teetering on a knife edge. Sam's words hung in the air, a lifeline thrown amidst turbulent waters. She glanced at the faces around her, some hopeful, others wary, each one a reminder of the chasm she had created when she left. Her stomach twisted in knots, but now wasn't the time to look away. Maybe I hoped, she began, her voice steadier, that by running, I could escape the mistakes I made. But I realize now that I was only prolonging the inevitable. She took a breath, trying to find the right way to express the raw honesty bubbling inside her. Leaving was easier than confronting my failures. A murmur of understanding rippled through the crowd. Sam felt the energy shift, an unspoken collective desire to heal. Faces softened, and he noticed a few people even nodding in agreement. It was as if Lily's admission cracked open a door, inviting them all to step into the light of shared vulnerability. Another voice called out, softer this time. We all make mistakes, Lily. The key is learning from them. It was a man Sam recognized from his childhood, the local mechanic who had seen the ups and downs of everyone in town. Lily smiled, her shoulders loosening slightly. Thank you for that, she replied. I want to be here open and honest. We need to acknowledge that we're all fighting our own battles. As she spoke, Sam noticed a woman from the front shift uncomfortably. Her brows were knitted, concern painting her features. But what about the family you left behind? She asked, voice trembling. What about the promises broken? The question hit like a gust of wind, momentarily knocking the breath out of them. Lily's expression faltered, her hands trembling. Sam could see the memories swirling in her mind, faces of those she had loved and left, all grappling with their own pain. I can't change the past, Lily said, her voice barely above a whisper, but I can own it. I'm here to not just ask for forgiveness but to commit to making things right, even if it's hard. An elderly man in the corner, silent until now, raised his voice, thick with age. Forgiveness isn't a straight path. It bends and twists. Do you have it in you, really? Sam's heart sank at the question. Could Lily withstand the challenge? Yes, she answered, her gaze fierce now. I have to. Not just for me, but for everyone I've hurt. Her words spilled out, a torrent of emotions. I am ready to do the work. I want to earn back the trust one broke. Sam's chest tightened with hope. He watched as some faces began to soften, a flicker of possibility igniting. Were they beginning to understand? One woman stepped forward, her expression resolute. It's going to be a long road. But if you're willing, we can help guide you. Together. The words acted as balm, healing the fractures in the crowd just a little. Sam felt the tension release, a shared sense of purpose emerging. They were willing to support her. But then, to everyone's surprise, another voice pierced through the growing camaraderie. And who has to say we want to forgive you at all? I lost my brother because of your choices. A younger man stepped into the light, his face like stone, eyes burning. The air grew thick again, the shift palpable. This was a moment of reckoning. Sam looked to Lily, bracing himself for her reaction. What would Lily say to him? Would she be able to face her past once more, knowing she was still not safe from judgment? As uncertainty clouded the room once more, he realized their journey into healing was just beginning. Could they navigate the shadows of pain together? Or was the wound too deep to mend? Lily felt her pulse quicken as the younger man's words hung in the air like a dark storm cloud. The weight of his accusation bore down on her, suffocating and heavy. She looked into his eyes and felt the turmoil behind them, a mix of anger, sorrow, and deep disappointment. It was a reflection of the consequences of her flight, the lives that had continued to turn while she had hidden away. I'm so sorry, she managed, her voice trembling. I can't even begin to imagine your pain. If I could take it back, I would. I never wanted to hurt anyone. But the truth was she had. She had hurt him just as she had hurt so many others. The young man's face remained stoic, resisting any semblance of empathy. Sorry doesn't bring him back. He shot back, each word charged with a pain that was seeping through his clenched fists. I watched my brother grow up with dreams of a life that he never got to live. And your choices took that from him. The crowd gasped. Some shifted nervously. A phone buzzed in someone's pocket, but none paid attention. Eyes remained glued to Lily, searching for something reassurance. Anger, regret. I know it doesn't, Lily began, feeling tears prick her eyes. But I want to change. I want to face the fallout of my decisions. I can't undo what happened, but I need to try and make amends. Sam could see how the confession was wearing on her, the fight in her fading as she faced the rawness of the moment. But how can we believe you? The voice of the woman in front echoed again, her brow still furrowed, skepticism etched into every line of her face. You've said all this before. What makes this time different? A bead of sweat dripped down Lily's back. She had prepared for many questions, but the challenge was becoming more intense than she anticipated. The vulnerability surged in her chest like a tidal wave, washing over doubt and fear. If I am being honest, I don't have all the answers. I wish I did, she replied, forcing herself to stand firm. But I am not here seeking your approval or even your forgiveness right away. I'm here to walk this unfamiliar path together. I can show you through my actions, my commitment, one step at a time. A ripple of murmurs spread through the crowd, uncertainty mixed with a glimmer of hope. Sam felt a sliver of relief but knew it was too early to celebrate. Would healing follow, or were the wounds too deep? The young man opened his mouth to speak again. But this time, it was the elderly man from the corner who interrupted. Perhaps, he said slowly, it's not about forgetting the past or absolving her of blame. It's about the journey we choose to take forward. What understanding do you have to offer when pain runs so deep? The younger man replied, skepticism still palpable in his tone. In that moment, a silence fell over the crowd. They were all on the edge, waiting for the next thread to be cast. A spark that could ignite hope or deepen despair. Lily took a deep breath, sweetness mixing with her lingering fear. She realized that they were all at a crossroads. Their lives intersected once more. Let us share our stories, she suggested, an imperfect yet genuine smile cracking through the tension. Through it all, our losses, our fears, our heartbreaks. Maybe, just maybe, that will allow us to find understanding. As the air began to swirl with cautious curiosity, Sam's heart raced. The tentative connection was forming, but he sensed the danger that lay just beneath the surface. Was a shared narrative enough to bridge the canyon of wounded souls? The room was alive with potential, but as Sam observed the complex emotions flitting across the crowd's faces, he couldn't help but wonder what secrets still lay buried. Could they really come together, or would the shadows of hurt and anger ultimately pull them apart once more? The moment hung in the air, thick with suspense. Lily's heart raced as she scanned the faces before her. Each person seemed to hold a piece of the puzzle pieces that could either fit together or remain painfully fragmented. "Who wants to go first?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. The question lingered, an invitation hanging between them. She watched the crowd, their expressions a blend of skepticism and curiosity, battling against the weight of their shared pain. Finally, a woman stepped forward. Her hands fidgeted with the hem of her sweater, a gesture that screamed anxiety. I lost my son," she began, her voice barely above a whisper. "He was 18, just starting out in life, then it was over, all because of choices, mistakes I can't unsee." Tears sparkled in her eyes, reflecting the hurt that had haunted her every day since. "I've blamed every person I could, even you." She pointed at Lily, her quotient of anger mingling with grief. Lily felt the words pierce her like shards of glass. "I'm so sorry," she said, her heart aching for the mother. "I didn't know your son. I wish I had the chance to tell him how precious life is, to take care, to be a light in the dark." The mother didn't respond immediately, her body trembling. "It's easy to say those things now," she finally remarked. "You weren't there. You didn't feel the emptiness." "No, I didn't," Lily replied, feeling the tremors of reality settle deep within her. "And I can't fathom your pain. But I promise I want to learn. I want to understand, not just for me, but for all of us." A ripple of shifting feet echoed through the crowd, like distant thunder before a storm. "Maybe we need to hear each other as stories," said the elderly man. "Every voice counts. Every heart bleeds, even if it's hard." A younger man stepped forward, eyes glistening with hesitant determination. "I'm here because of my sister," he said, his gaze piercing through the murky air. "She was in that accident too. She could have been alive today. How can I trust you?" His voice trembled with rage, tempered just slightly by grief. "You gave up when things got tough. Trust takes time." "I know that," Lily responded, her heart pounding. "I'm not here to skirt around my mistakes. I'm standing before you to acknowledge them. I'm here to fight for the voices we've lost. I promise to stay. Let me prove that I can bear this weight with you." The room quieted as they took in her words. The tension was palpable, each breath caught in a web of uncertainty. "Fine," the younger man replied, his brow still furrowed, but the hardness in his expression began to slip. "How do we start?" "Let us create a space," Lily said, feeling a spark of hope lighting within her. "A place where we can share, cry, rage, and heal together. Share the good moments too, not just the pain. We're living this together, and together is where we'll find strength." The crowd seemed to shift, the darkness edging away slightly. They were restless yet intrigued, their souls aching for solace. Sam stood back, observing every change in expression. This was the start of something significant, he realized. But a shadow of doubt lingered, whispering questions. What if it wasn't enough? Lily's eyes locked onto Sam's for a fleeting moment. There was determination there, fueled by a burning desire to change. Yet they all carried wounds that went deep. Could they really transform this gathering of pain into something beautiful? Before they could answer, an unexpected voice rang out from the back, cutting through the murmurs. "And what if you can't fix this?" The question hung heavy in the air once again, a knife poised on the edge. Lily felt her breath catch. Would they turn on her when faced with that fear, or would they find a way to face it together? The answer loomed, just like the stormy clouds they had started with a storm that either unleashed rain or heralded a new dawn. Would they weather it, or would it tear them apart? Lily took a deep breath, feeling the weight of that question settle on her shoulders, thick and suffocating. I know I can't fix everything, she said softly, her voice steadying as she spoke, but I believe we can find solace together. We can at least try to understand each other and keep our loved ones' memories alive. The young man who had questioned her narrowed his eyes, trying isn't enough. What if it just leads to more hurt? But what if it leads to healing? Lily replied, a fire igniting in her chest. She stepped closer to him, determination shining in her eyes. What's the alternative? To remain silent? To let our pain fester in shadows? We owe it to those we lost to honor them by sharing our stories. A hush fell over the group, and for a moment, it felt as if time had frozen. She held their gaze, searching for any flicker of resolve. The elderly man broke the silence. You're right, dear. We do owe it to our loved ones. But it won't be easy. The memories we bring might sting. He glanced around, his voice rough but warm. Still, it seems that speaking our truths might be the best way to mend these broken hearts. Lily nodded, feeling the tension in the air ease slightly. The shared commitment to open up began to wrap around them like a fragile thread, weaving them closer. Slowly, people started to step forward, finding their courage to share. The mother who had lost her son took a breath. I've been stuck in anger and grief. He was my world, and it's painful to feel forgotten. I want to tell stories of how bright he was. Her lips trembled, but she stood tall, a flicker of strength shining through her tears. He loved to draw. He would spend hours creating art. Maybe I can share those with you. The room began to brighten, each small confession stitching together broken seams. I'm here for my sister too, the young man added, his voice softer now. She used to sing in the shower, around the house. It made everything feel lighter. Maybe I can sing for her. Please do, Lily said, her heart swelling. It's just the start, but we're breathing life into those memories. As stories unfolded, they turned into a beautiful tapestry of shared laughter and sorrow, revealing their common ground. The mood shifted, the heaviness lifting as they discovered moments of joy amid the pain. Sam watched from the sidelines, aware of the fragile magic unfolding. He stepped forward, his heart racing. Can I share too? I lost someone, a friend. He always pushed me to be better. He hesitated, the rawness of it all evident in his voice. Still hurts, but I want to remember him as he was. Funny, adventurous, and full of life. The group gathered close, their hearts intertwining in shared grief and triumph. Learning to hold space for the grief, they also held each other tightly, building a foundation of support. And yet, as they spoke, a deeper fear surfaced, an unspoken question lurking beneath the transformations. What if we falter? Someone whispered. What if this isn't enough? Lily looked around, their faces filled with hope yet shadowed with doubt. It was a question she hadn't dared to voice until now, and it rattled her. Would they be able to navigate whatever lay ahead? Or would this gathering of pain eventually crumble? As the last words trailed off, the air thickened with an unspoken tension once more. With hope flickering and uncertainty pooling, they were left staring at each other, wondering if this fragile connection would hold when the next wave of grief inevitably crashed down. Lily pondered, could they truly weather what was ahead? Or would all of this unravel before they reached a place of healing? The air within the room continued to hang heavy, sharing confessions and fears that needed to be stretched out like a thin film over an open flame. Lily felt that flicker of hope she ignited begin to dim, just as uncertainty crept back in. She wanted so much for them to find healing. Yet the glimmer of doubt had taken root in her chest, unsettling and persistent. She glanced around the room, observing each person and the stories they carried. Some faces were palsied with sorrow, while others glistened with unspoken memories. The elderly man looked down, rubbing his hands together as if finding warmth in a fading flame. The mother wiped her tears quickly, focusing on the ground. The young man, whose voice had tremored with vulnerability, stared blankly, processing the weight of unleashing his heart. Let us not stop now, Lily encouraged, her voice slicing through the silence. We can share a little more. We're already here. The young woman beside her hesitated before taking a breath that filled her lungs to capacity. I lost my twin sister, she began, her voice wavering but fierce. Every moment without her feels like drowning. But I want you to know the laughter we shared, how we used to sneak out and dance under the stars while the world was sleeping. Every beat of music felt alive when I was with her. I don't want her spirit to vanish into just silence. The room held its breath. The vivid image she painted filled the air with an essence of joy wrapped in sorrow. It gave them room to breathe and connect, weaving another thread, their tapestry of grief becoming stronger, more vibrant with each story shared. Encouraged, Sam spoke again. I held back from sharing how I really felt about my friend, Daniel. I think it's time I own that. His brow furrowed. He was eager and terrified at once. He had this way of seeing the bright side when things got tough, and he would always say, "It's our job to make the world a better place, one joke at a time." I never really understood that until he was gone. Now, I tell his jokes to anyone who listen, and it makes me feel like he is still with me. He managed a small smile, the tension in him slowly easing. More people began to speak up, finding their footing in this newfound vulnerability. Each revelation built on the last, binding them closer, like stitches piecing together a ripped fabric. Each tale held emotion, of laughter finding its way through tears, or the weight of grief turning lighter with shared burdens. The room transformed with every word. A soft glow enveloped them, almost tangible in its warmth. And yet, as the confession soared, an unsettling thought prickled at Lily's consciousness. The deeper they ventured into their memories, could the past swing back with more pain? Voices filled the space, swirling around her like a beautiful harmony, but the quiet question weighed on her heart. What if this ended in heartache? What if unearthing these stories led to more suffering? She glanced at the young man who had spoken against her earlier, his face now more open, yet something still lingered in his eyes. His barriers had lowered, but deep shadows remained. It struck her profoundly. Would they all be capable of navigating through what they unearthed together? Before we let this surge of memories take us too far, what do we do if it becomes too much? She dared to ask, breaking the joyful current. The warm energy shifted instantly, morphing back into an electric tension, their eyes darting between one another, searching for strength or perhaps a way back to safety. There, in the uncomfortable pause that followed, their stories hung like a string on the precipice of snapping. What awaited them as they moved deeper into their pasts? Lily felt the questions pulse like a heartbeat among them, an unknowing echo in the spaces between hearts, a collective fear that rose like vapor when breath was held too long. Could they truly withstand whatever darkness lay ahead? Could they unearth the light? Would opening these wounds lead to healing or tearing apart all they had just begun to stitch? Together, the silence stretched, each second feeling like an eternity. Lily's heart raced. The room was charged with unspoken fears. She could see it on their faces, an unpreparedness that clung like a persistent shadow. The need for connection was strong, yet they all sensed the vulnerability that came with dipping into the past. The young man, who had been so quiet until now, shifted in his seat. What if, he started, his voice trembling, what if we find things we aren't ready to face? His eyes flickered to the floor, unable to meet hers. What if sharing just makes it worse? Lily leaned forward, meeting his gaze. I get it, she said gently, her heart echoing his fear. But this isn't just about the hurt. It's about reclaiming joy, too. Sometimes to find the light, we have to wade through the darkness. His brow furrowed as he absorbed her words. Slowly, he nodded, stealing glances at the others. The atmosphere felt thicker now, like the stillness before a summer storm, moments away from the downpour. Then the mother, who had been silent through it all, spoke up. Her voice was soft but confident. I lost my son last year. She took a deep breath, her hands shaking slightly. He was everything to me. I wake up every day thinking I still hear him laughing. But the silence is heavy, unbearable. Really. Sharing his memory feels risky, like I might crumble under its weight. She paused, looking around the room. What if I can't talk about him without breaking? Lily felt a pang of empathy. You're not alone. We'll listen and we'll hold this space together. She looked around, urging nods and reassuring smiles. Your son deserves to be remembered, just like all of our loved ones. As the mother began sharing snippets of her son's adventures, his zest for life, how he loved to ride his bike and explore the woods, others leaned in. Each word was a lifeline cast into murky waters. Soon, murmurs of agreement rose, like a chorus ready to amplify the soft beats of grief into something meaningful. Then another voice called out from the back. It was the elderly man, finally breaking his silence. I lost my wife, 50 years together. Every morning, she would sing to get me out of bed. I swear I still hear her. Sometimes his voice cracked under the weight of his memory, eyes shimmering with tears. But I keep quiet. I keep it all inside because, well, how do you honor someone who has gone? Silence washed over the room again, thicker this time, as if they were all holding their breath together. They were grappling with the rawness of reminding each other of the joy intertwined with the grief. A profound connection began to form, as if their stories were piecing together like an unfinished puzzle, slowly revealing a collective image of healing. There's no right way to remember, Sam chimed in, his voice steadying the group. What if honoring them means allowing ourselves to grieve openly? To share the love, the good times alongside the hurt? Lily watched as nods of agreement passed among them. They were standing on the precipice, ready to leap into vulnerability, choosing to believe in the possibility of healing together. Well, I have a joke I want to share, Sam said, breaking the tension, a spark of mischief lighting his eyes. It's one of Daniel's favorites. Laughter broke through the thick air, connective and empowering. It was a shared moment of joy, something they all desperately needed. Yet despite the laughter, Lily still felt the weight of uncertainty looming. They were only beginning to peel back layers of pain. How deep would they dare to go? Could laughter sustainably coexist with grief? Each person in the room had their own scars, lines drawn from loss. As reality settled back in, Lily wondered what would happen when memories faded into darker alleys. Would they all find a way to handle it together? Or would the stories become too much, fracturing the bonds they had just started to forge? They were just stepping into the abyss. What lay beyond the threshold? The thought hung heavily, a question waiting for an answer, a promise for what might come. Next, the room filled with laughter, a sweet sound that cut through the dense air. Sam's joke lightened the mood, a brief respite from the heaviness that had threatened to pull them under. Yet, beneath that laughter, the currents of unresolved pain and uncertainty still swirled. As the chuckles subsided, Lily noticed the return of solemn faces. Reality loomed. Sharing memories was a step toward healing, but how far would they venture? Could they navigate the deeper layers of grief without sinking? With the laughter still lingering, she leaned into the moment. What if we each shared something happy about those we lost? A story that brings a smile? She suggested, her heart racing with hope. A slow murmur of agreement buzzed through the group. One by one, they began to speak, recounting wild adventures, sweet moments, and treasured quirks. The elderly man chuckled as he described his wife's knack for misplacing glasses, how one time she found them atop her own head. Lily saw smiles breaking through the sorrow, faces transforming as they recounted shared joy. But soon, a voice emerged, trembling with raw emotion. How do we handle the days when we can't smile? A young woman, still uncertain, let her struggle unravel. On those days it feels like the weight will crush me, and I worry normalcy feels like a betrayal. Lily's heart ached. She understood that fear all too well. That's where we come in, she said, her voice firm yet soft. We'll hold on to each other on those days and all the others too. Look, today we're smiling and that's okay. It doesn't erase the hurt. It exists alongside it. Sam stepped forward, his expression earnest. And on those bad days, let us promise to reach out. Call someone here, share the burden. No one has to face it alone. Heads nodded, eyes filled with determination. They could create a network of support that stood strong against the weight of grief. It felt like something monumental was gathering momentum. Suddenly, the young man who had earlier questioned her fairness stepped forward again. "What if I can't forgive?" he admitted, his voice shaking. "What if it hurts too much?" Lily took a breath. "Forgiveness doesn't have to be immediate," she reassured him. "It can be a journey you invite with open arms, a process that may take time." "Is it okay to be messy?" he asked, seemingly on the verge of tears. 100%, Lily affirmed, her heart breaking for him. "We'll allow the messiness, the rawness, it's all part of healing. We can share tears and laughter together, we can work through all of it." The group murmured in agreement. There, in that shared commitment, they had laid a foundation for something special, a promise that they wouldn't shy away from discomfort but rather embrace it. As more voices joined in, sharing fragments of laughter interspersed with overwhelming sorrow, Lily felt a powerful shift. It was like peeling away layers of heavy fabric, freeing themselves bit by bit. Yet as they danced around that delicate equilibrium, there still lingered a question: what if the laughter faded and the shadows crept back? After a series of heartfelt stories and gentle laughter, the thick air grew softer. Sam's voice broke through the haze. "You're not defined by your past," he said steadily. "None of us are. We can choose to move forward, to be there for each other. That's what family is. I want to be part of this family," the young woman stated fiercely, her eyes ablaze with newfound courage. "The one that chooses to fight together." And just like that, they all roared with agreement, solidifying their bond through resilience. They didn't need to push through alone anymore. They were stepping towards something brighter together. In that moment, Lily felt a weight lift. It wasn't about erasing pain, but rather facing it with love and strength. As the gathering began to wind down and the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting warm hues through the garage doors, she turned to Sam. Their eyes locked as the illumination spread, and in that silent exchange, they both felt it. Hope. The road ahead would be long, no doubt. But armed with a collective heart, with shared stories and laughter, they would venture forth, ready to embrace the messiness of emotions. Lily took a deep breath, exhilarated. They could weather the storms that lay ahead together. In the face of adversity, they would fiercely stand united, honoring the past and creating a new shared future. The laughter and tears would ebb and flow, but through it all, they would remain a community of family. And as their stories entwined, they would each find a little more light to carry. And so, there they were, united under the vast expanse of possibilities, ready to unfurl the next chapter together. Now, as you reflect on this transformative journey, this is your moment to take action. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss out on more exclusive stories that inspire change. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us reach more souls who need this narrative. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this heartwarming conclusion. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this journey of transformation. Only true fans know the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.